Here's something Home Depot doesn't advertise openly. Every year, Americans return billions of dollars worth of tools and equipment, and Home Depot processes a massive chunk of that. Now, you're probably thinking those tools get inspected, repackaged, and put back on the shelf, right? Not exactly. What actually happens to returned Milwaukee drills and DeWalt saws is way more interesting than anyone's telling you. And if you know where to look, you can score professional grade tools for prices that seem impossible. Stick around because I'm about to expose the entire return pipeline that tool stores keep quiet. Let's start with what happens the second that tool hits the return desk. Most people think there's some careful inspection process. Maybe a technician tests everything, replaces parts, and back to retail it goes. Nope. Here's the reality. That returns desk employee has maybe a minute or two to make a decision. Open box, looks complete, no obvious damage. It's getting tagged for the clearance section. Missing parts, weird sounds, or clearly beaten up? That's going somewhere completely different. But here's where it gets interesting. Home Depot typically can't sell returned tools as new once they've left the store, so they mark them down and hope someone grabs them quick. If they sit there too long, that's when things get really interesting. Most returned tools follow one of four paths, and only one keeps the tool at Home Depot. Path 1 is the clearance end cap. You know those random sections at the end of aisles with orange markdown stickers and dented boxes? That's Return Central. Tools there typically get discounted to move them fast. Nothing crazy, but enough that smart shoppers check daily. Professional contractors hit these spots every morning before stores officially open. They know the restocking schedules. Path 2 is more interesting. Home Depot has tool rental programs, and when rental equipment reaches the end of its service life after extensive use, it gets liquidated. We're talking heavy-duty gear that's been through hundreds of customers but still works. Think concrete mixers and air compressors selling for fractions of new prices. These aren't hiding in clearance aisles, though. You've got to ask specifically about rental returns at the tool rental desk. Path 3 is where things get spicy. Home Depot has partnerships with liquidation companies. These companies buy returned and overstock tools by the pallet, not individually, entire pallets. And here's the thing. They don't inspect anything beforehand. Home Depot just offers pallets of mixed power tools sold as is. The liquidation company buys them for a fraction of retail value, then resells those pallets to the public. You can literally buy a pallet of returned Milwaukee and DeWalt tools. Some pallets are mostly junk, sure, but people regularly score working tools worth thousands for a few $100. It's basically the tool lottery, and most people don't even know this market exists. Path 4 might blow your mind. Lots of returned tools end up at discount chains like Dirt Cheap, Ocean State Job Lot, and Tuesday Morning. These stores specialize in buying customer returns and overstock from major retailers. That Milwaukee system someone returned because they didn't like the color? It's sitting in a discount store somewhere marked way down. The Ryobi combo kit with a missing charger? Someone just bought it cheap and ordered a replacement charger online for minimal cost. When you understand this system, traditional sales start looking weak. But let's talk about the elephant in the workshop. Are these returned tools actually worth buying? Here's what retail workers won't tell you. Most tool returns aren't because something broke. People return tools for ridiculous reasons. Bought the wrong voltage. Didn't realize cordless meant battery not included. Changed their mind about the color. Decided they didn't need to build that deck after all. Industry insiders say the vast majority of tool returns are buyer's remorse or user error, not defects. which means most return tools work perfectly fine. They're just cosmetically imperfect or missing some non-essential accessory. Smart buyers know this and specifically hunt for these deals. Now, here's where you need to pay attention, because this separates people who score amazing deals from those who end up with problems. When looking at return tools, especially at liquidation sales or discount chains, there are 3 things you must check. First, the serial number. If it's been scratched off or covered with a sticker, walk away. That tool was likely stolen or returned fraudulently. Legitimate returns keep serial numbers intact. Second, battery contacts on cordless tools. Look for corrosion, burns, or weird discoloration. Battery contact damage means someone probably forced the wrong battery or left a dead one installed too long. That kind of damage spreads. Third, this sounds weird, but smell the motor vents. A burned electronics smell means someone overworked that tool until something gave up. Even if it runs now, it's living on borrowed time. Here's a move most people miss. Home Depot's return policy is generous, typically allowing returns for a substantial period on most tools. So when you buy a return tool from the clearance section, you're often still covered by store policy. Buy it, test it thoroughly at home, and if anything seems off, return it. Worst case, you're out the time it took to test it. Best case, you just scored an expensive tool at a deep discount that works flawlessly. The system protects you even when buying returned merchandise. It's like having a safety net made of store policy. Let's talk about timing, because this matters more than most people realize. Home Depot processes returns differently depending on season. January and February, right after Christmas, the return desk gets slammed. Everyone's bringing back gifts they didn't want or duplicate tools from relatives. This is when clearance sections overflow with barely touched equipment. Contractors know this and schedule tool shopping for late January specifically. March through May is spring project season, which means tons of weekend warriors buying tools they'll use once. June and July bring returns from failed summer projects. And September through November, people clear out garages and return stuff bought but never opened. If you're shopping for returned tools, late January, mid-July, and October are typically the sweet spots when selection peaks. But here's something even better than timing seasons. Home Depot locations in wealthy suburbs tend to have higher return rates than urban stores. Why? Because people with disposable income are more likely to impulse buy expensive tools and return them when project motivation fades. Stores in affluent areas often have clearance sections that look incredible. Meanwhile, stores in working-class neighborhoods move clearance items faster because locals know value. The secret is shopping at wealthy area stores during weekday mornings when contractors aren't around yet. You'll have first pick of returns from people who bought expensive equipment, used it briefly, and decided the hobby wasn't for them. Now let's get into the liquidation pallet game, because this is where regular people can access wholesale pricing without owning a business. Websites that specialize in liquidation sell Home Depot return pallets. Here's how it works. You create an account, browse available pallets, and either buy direct or bid auction style. The listings give you retail value estimates and descriptions like mixed power tools, customer returns, untested. You pay based on pallet size and estimated contents. Then you either pick it up at a warehouse or pay for freight shipping. Sounds risky, right? It absolutely can be. But people who do this regularly have systems. Smart pallet buyers focus on seasonal timing and manifests. Some liquidation companies provide detailed manifests listing every item. Others just give broad categories and piece counts. Detailed manifest pallets cost more, but you know what you're getting. Blind pallets are cheaper and riskier, but when you win big. People who buy pallets regularly follow a simple rule. If they can resell or use a majority of contents, it's profitable. Stories abound of people buying pallets that included high-value combo kits worth more than the entire pallet cost. Everything else becomes pure profit. They sell duplicates on Facebook Marketplace and offer up, keep tools they need, and clear significant profits. That's better than most side hustles, and it just requires opening boxes and posting photos online. But here's the part that'll change how you think about tool shopping forever. You don't need to buy entire pallets or hunt through clearance aisles constantly. There's a simpler approach most people ignore. Home Depot has a program for contractors that anyone can join. Once enrolled, you get access to exclusive pricing on select tools and early notification of sales. Some users report getting alerts when stores near them mark down returned merchandise. You can potentially set preferences for brands and price ranges. It's like having someone feeding you deals in real time. Combine program notifications with solid understanding of tool retail prices, and you're shopping with advantages. Here's an example. DeWalt combo kits retail at various price points depending on included tools. During major sales, they drop somewhat. But a returned kit missing a battery and charger in clearance? Significantly cheaper. You buy it, go online, and purchase compatible batteries and a charger. Your total investment is still well below retail for a complete new kit. And because it's from clearance, you've still got return protection if anything seems wrong. The math works heavily in your favor. Here's another angle most people sleep on. Home Depot's tool rental returns. Remember I mentioned these earlier? Let's dive deeper. Every Home Depot with tool rental eventually retires inventory. These aren't consumer-grade tools that failed quickly. These are heavy-duty professional models built to survive rental abuse. When equipment has been rented extensively and still works but looks cosmetically worn, Home Depot retires it. They can't keep renting it because customers expect pristine equipment. So they sell it, usually at substantial discounts. The catch is you have to actively ask about available rental returns. Most employees won't volunteer this information. But if you walk up to the tool rental desk and ask about retired rental equipment for sale, they'll check the system. Be persistent and friendly. These deals don't advertise themselves. Now, let's address the biggest concern about buying returned tools. Warranties. Most manufacturer warranties tie to original purchase date and proof of purchase. So if someone bought a tool, used it briefly, then returned it, technically the manufacturer's warranty clock already started. When you buy that returned tool from clearance, you're getting whatever time remains. For something returned quickly, that's basically full warranty coverage. For something that's been in the system longer, you might have reduced coverage. But store return policies often supersede manufacturer warranties initially. So even on a returned tool, you've got protection if you keep your receipt. There's also a psychological element to buying returned tools nobody discusses. When you buy new tools at full retail, you baby them. You're terrified of scratching the paint or getting dust inside. It's like buying a new car and refusing to park near other vehicles. But when you buy a tool that already has some dings and scratches, you actually use it how it's meant to be used. You're not afraid to drop it in the dirt or toss it in the truck bed. Ironically, returned tools often get used harder and more effectively because there's no precious new tool anxiety holding you back. That drill you got at a discount instead of full price, you're drilling concrete with it tomorrow. The brand new one you paid full retail for, you're keeping it in the case for anything messy. Let me tell you about something that happened recently that perfectly illustrates why this matters. Someone I know needed a table saw for a basement renovation. They were about to spend serious money on a new job site saw. I suggested waiting a week and checking clearance sections at different Home Depots nearby. Within days, they found a returned table saw marked down substantially because someone claimed the fence was misaligned. They bought it, brought it home, and discovered the fence just needed a simple adjustment described in the manual. Significant savings on a saw that retailed much higher. They used it for months, finished the basement, then sold it used for more than they paid. Made a profit on a tool they used extensively. That's the power of understanding this system. Here's the final piece that ties everything together. Most people approach tool buying emotionally. They see shiny new tools and want them, because buying new feels good. It's psychological retail therapy. But smart buyers separate emotion from economics. They understand tools are meant to be used, abused, and eventually replaced. Whether you pay full retail or clearance prices, that drill will get dusty, scratched, and worn. The only difference is how much money you spent to achieve the same outcome. When you flip that mental switch and start viewing tools as consumable assets rather than precious purchases, the entire returned tool market makes perfect sense. Why pay full price when less money gets you the exact same functionality? The tool doesn't care if it came from a pristine retail box or a clearance bin. So here's your action plan. First, look into Home Depot's contractor program. It can provide access to notifications and exclusive pricing. Second, identify Home Depot locations nearest you and visit them on different days. Check their clearance end caps and ask about rental returns. Third, browse liquidation websites and familiarize yourself with how pallet sales work. Fourth, set up alerts on Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp for tool brands you're interested in. Lots of liquidation buyers resell locally at prices still below retail. Fifth, stop buying tools on impulse. Make a list of what you actually need, then hunt for deals on specific items. The tool industry wants you believing new equals better and retail prices are fair. But when you understand what happens behind the scenes with returns, liquidations, and rental retirements, you realize there's an entire parallel market most people ignore. Every single day, perfectly functional tools get marked down and redistributed at fractions of original cost. Not because they're broken, but because retail systems demand inventory turnover. Smart buyers who tap into this system build workshops full of professional equipment without professional price tags. And let's talk about specific strategies that separate casual shoppers from people who consistently score incredible deals. First, understand that clearance pricing isn't random. Major retailers follow markdown schedules designed to move inventory within specific timeframes. When something doesn't sell at initial discount, it gets marked down further. The key is identifying items that have been sitting in clearance for a while. Take photos with your phone of clearance items and their prices. Check back weekly. When you see the same tool with a new, lower price sticker, you know the markdown cycle is progressing. Second, build relationships with employees in the tool department and at the rental desk. Just be friendly and ask good questions. Employees who work these departments for years develop encyclopedic knowledge of what comes and goes. They know which tools get returned most often and why. They know when rental equipment typically gets retired. A simple conversation about what you're looking for can lead to them mentioning when new rental returns just hit the system, or when they expect seasonal returns. Third, expand your geographic range. Most people shop at the closest store and call it done. But if you've got 3 or 4 locations within reasonable driving distance, you're multiplying your opportunities. Each store processes returns independently. Each has different customer demographics affecting return rates. By rotating through multiple locations on a regular schedule, you're checking multiple clearance sections. More stores equals more return tools equals higher probability of finding exactly what you need. Fourth, understand the seasonal inventory cycle beyond just returns. Home Depot brings in seasonal tools aggressively. Lawn equipment in spring, pressure washers in summer, snow blowers in fall, generators before storm season. When these seasons end, anything that didn't sell needs to go. Retailers can't warehouse seasonal inventory for an entire year. This creates predictable clearance waves. Late spring for unsold lawn equipment. Late summer for pressure washers. If you can wait and buy seasonal tools at the end of their season, you're buying at maximum discount. Store them and use them when everyone else is paying full retail the next year. Fifth, learn to spot repackaged returns versus actual defective items. This takes practice but makes a huge difference overall. A repackaged return typically has all major components present, maybe some cosmetic wear, and functions normally. It just couldn't be sold as new anymore due to open packaging. A defective return shows signs of actual problems, weird noises when testing, visible damage beyond normal wear, missing critical components. The difference matters because repackaged returns are essentially new tools at discount prices. Most stores won't let you plug in and test clearance tools on the sales floor, but you can inspect them carefully and use the generous return policy as your safety net. Sixth, don't overlook combo kits with missing pieces. This is where you can build incredible value through creative shopping. Someone returns a combo kit because they lost the charger, or they kept one tool from a multi-tool kit and returned the rest. These incomplete kits get marked down substantially because most shoppers want complete packages. But if you're building a collection of the same battery platform, you probably already have chargers. You don't need another one. You're paying for the tool itself and getting it at a massive discount because other people are scared away by the missing accessory. Seventh, master the art of the polite inquiry. When you find a clearance tool that interests you, but the price still seems high, you can sometimes negotiate further. Not aggressively, but conversationally. Ask the department manager if this is the final markdown or if it might go lower. Mention you're interested, but waiting for the right price. Sometimes they'll check the system and tell you another markdown is scheduled. Sometimes they'll offer an additional discount right then to move the item. Eighth, understand that return tools create opportunities beyond just buying them directly. The entire ecosystem around returns generates value. Liquidation buyers need to move inventory quickly, so they price aggressively on local marketplaces. People who bought blind pallets often have tools they don't need and will sell them cheap just to recoup pallet costs. By monitoring local selling platforms daily, you tap into this secondary market where return tools circulate at various price points, all below retail. Set up saved searches and alerts. The best deals get snagged fast. Ninth, consider the long game with tool platforms. When you're starting a collection or expanding into new tool types, buying into return tools on a specific battery platform makes tremendous sense. Whether you're building Milwaukee, DeWalt, Ryobi, or Makita collections, buying through returned and clearance tools means you're saving on every single purchase. Those savings compound. Over time, the money saved on the first few tools can fund additional tool purchases. The collection grows faster because you're getting more tools for the same budget. 10th, and this is critical, document everything. Keep receipts organized. Take photos of tools when you buy them, showing their condition. This documentation protects you if you need to return something. It also helps track your actual savings over time. When you can look back and see you've built a workshop worth thousands in retail value for a fraction of that, it reinforces the strategy. The psychology of retail is designed to make you spend more on new products. Everything from store layouts to lighting to marketing creates urgency around buying new at full price. But when you step outside that system and start viewing returned tools as opportunities rather than damaged goods, you gain massive advantages. You're no longer competing with everyone fighting over newest releases. You're operating in a different market entirely, one where patience and knowledge trump impulsive purchasing. Most shoppers will never figure this out. They'll keep paying full price and feeling good about sale discounts. Meanwhile, you're building a professional workshop at a fraction of what they're spending.